Hi everyone, I'm Cari with on Live with Prima. Today we're going to make some really simple and cute watercolor cards. These I just did, well, this one in particular I did for Make and Take this weekend up in Canada, and they had a lot of fun. I did all kinds of color combinations, and this is so simple. You're going to love it. And we're going to talk about it more and more as I get into it, and you know, just go over some really simple and fun techniques. I also have these, which are really pretty. These are a little bit more dimensional than the other ones. Very shiny and pretty, and again, another really easy one to recreate on your own. If you don't have the Prima watercolor pencils in your stash already, then you definitely need to get them. They're back in stock at Prima, so make sure you go to your favorite scrapbook store, your local scrapbook store, your favorite online store, and look for them or request them to get them in. So what I really want to talk about right now is what I used for the base of the card. So Prima came out with brand new watercolor paper pads this past summer, and in a whole variety of sizes. So this one is the 8.5 by 11, which I love because 8.5 by 11, you cut it in half and you have your standard A2 size card, invitation sized. Okay, this paper is about 140 pounds. It's very, very thick, very sturdy, very durable. So it's perfect for like the kind of thing we're going to do today, because we're going to do a lot of manipulation on the paper surface itself, and it will not pill up. It will not soak through unless you use a ton of water. Oops, sorry. And so if you use a ton of water, it's okay, because even if it does soak through a little bit, you're going to be fine. It really is just very little. It just depends, like I said, how much you saturate. We're going to be using a few different varieties of the watercolor pencils. Oh, I forgot to mention the number for the watercolor paper pad. The number is 847746. And like I said, it comes in 12 by 12, 6 by 6, even all the way down to ATC, true ATC size pieces that are already in a little pad for you. They're adorable. Okay, and today I'm going to be using the Spring and Fall, the Hair and Skin Tones, and Scenic Root. The item number for Spring and Fall is 576721. Then we also have Hair and Skin Tone 576745, and Scenic Root is 576691. I don't really need to use all of these, but there's different colors. Like in the spring and fall, you get more of the pinks and the reds, like some of the more warm hues that you may be more inclined to use depending on what your project is for. Hair and Skin Tone, very neutral, soft colors, not just for skin and hair, obviously. There's a lot of soft colors inside that you can use to make, like the Hair and Skin Tone, for instance, I used for this set here, this card here. So see, you can get a really, really soft look. All right, and then the Scenic Root. Scenic Root has more of the cool tones, so you've got a lot of variety of the blues and some of the neutrals. So, you know, it's up to you. You can pick and choose. There are duplicates in some of these sets. The newer tins actually come with the pencil numbers on the little circles that you see. So when they reordered those, they put the numbers on there so that if you didn't want to duplicate some of the colors, you don't have to. Okay? All right. So, you know, you can get started with one set, or if you feel the need to get them all, you know, I don't judge. I don't blame you. All right, so we're going to be using a variety of pencils from that. So, and then I have this adorable little stencil. It's got little flowers on it. And the number for this is a 6 by 6 stencil. It's called Floral Bouquet. It's 580025. And it also shows you all the different varieties of other stencils we come out with, which you guys know are pretty awesome and amazing. So I don't know if you can see some of those, but just to give you an idea, sometimes what we release and when, that's really nice. Okay, so I have actually taped down my stencil to keep it in place for me because I can get messy sometimes. I cut down the watercolor cards. You see, I don't know if you can see the shininess on here, but I cut down the watercolor paper to 5 inches by 3 3/4 inch. So what I'm going to do, I've decided just to work off a piece of paper to get started, because even if I make a mistake or I don't like the colors I chose, you know, I haven't ruined an entire card base. It's just a little panel that you can work on, and you know, not a lot of surface either, which makes it go a little bit quicker. Now, what I used for this card in particular, this is my first resist technique card, and I'm going to be using the 3D gloss gel. 3D gloss gel is a little bit more dimensional. It's super thick. You can see, like, it doesn't come out. I love to use this for like all of Anna's art ingredients, like beads and micro beads, because it really seems to grab hold. So needless to say, it's a 3D gloss gel, so it's going to dry with some dimension, and it's really wonderful to use with stencils. Okay, so I am just going to put a big blob, and then what I do is I just work my way across my card, just like you would with modeling paste. Now, this is really hilarious. When I was using this earlier and made my card, I was like, it's not drying. I wonder why. Well, it did dry. It looks like it's wet because it's glossy. Yes. So there you go. See, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Oh, there's gunk on here. That's how I roll. Hold on a second. Let me just get that off of there. That's hilarious. Micro beads and things like that end up in my paste sometimes. I know you can see a couple little spots. But do you see how dimensional that gloss gel is? Isn't that amazing? And it's got like a, you know, you've got those sweet little flowers that are all ready to go. It looks pretty just as is, doesn't it? So then you want to just kind of heat it with your heat gun, dry it, and you should be ready to go. So I'm just going to wipe this off, because I can't have a dirty mat. All right, so let's just fast forward and pretend that we did that. So here we go. It's all dry, but you can see it's kind of shiny. Okay, so I'm going to get out, let's see, I'll get out the scenic route. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with all of our amazing products we have, but with the watercolor pencils, we also have the water brushes. So the water brushes come 2 in a pack, and it holds a ton of water. Like, I've in the past gotten those little koi water pens. You know which ones I'm talking about? And they worked great, but they were small. So like for something like this, I need a lot of water, and I hate to stop to keep refilling everything I want to use. All right, so that to me was just kind of like, you know, I just love that there's more water. Now you're going to push on the cylinder to get that water coming out. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay. And what I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to go with the teal color family. So I'm just going to pull that color right off of that brush and start adding it right to my card. I know this is kind of hard to see because it's so light, but I just really want to get really good coverage of my lightest color. So my rule has always been, and it probably always will be, you want to start lightest and go to your darkest. Simply because once you have a dark color on there, you really can't go back. I mean, a lighter color really isn't going to show up well on a darker color when you're working with water-soluble products, right? Okay, so I am just pulling that color right off, and I'm just going to add a little more water, and that will help spread the color beautifully. Okay, so I just want to make sure I pretty much hit the entire surface. Now you can dry in between, but you don't really need to with this kind of card that we're doing. We're not doing really fine detailed work. This is number 61 out of the set. That's what I'm starting with. And I've got a couple more teals here, which I think I'll go right to 50. 50 is kind of pretty. It's really pretty. So again, now you're gonna really start to see some color kind of come on there. I know it's a little, oops, shiny, but ooh, I just splattered on my other card. Of course I did. So now you can start to see the color, and you're just going to use that brush just to kind of move that color around. It's going to be really, really fun. So this is kind of like more of a green teal. Okay. And then I think I will go back to the other one. It's 62. And again, I'm using the Scenic Route set. And now this is more of a blue teal. I hope that's making sense. So you see how I'm just kind of dabbing the color on with my brush, but there's lots of water on here. So I don't even have to press the cylinder as I'm pulling the color off because, you know, there's tons of water on the card from my first layer of color. Let's see if I can hold that up for you. Do you see that? And do you see like where the gloss gel is starting to resist the color a little bit? So that's kind of fun, right? And now I think I'm going to grab the green. And the green in this set is number 58. So now if you're concerned about, you know, cleaning your brush off, if you just have like a little piece of scrap watercolor paper, you can just literally brush it off on that and then just go right to the next color. Like you don't really have to be careful at all. So do you see how I'm kind of wicking it out, blending it, just adding a little bit of color here and there. I'm not even being careful. I don't even really care because it doesn't really matter. Yes, this looks great. This is looking really good. Like all bragging on myself as I'm making this. I shouldn't be. But do you see that? Do you see how like that dimension's really coming together with the more color you add, especially like the darker colors? Now let's say it's not quite dark enough in the blue family. No problem. Just go back, pick up a little bit more of that blue, okay, and add it in some areas where you think it needs a little bit more color. Okay. And that's all I'm doing. Now, that light blue, I know it seemed like, why did we add that? But really, it covers areas that, you know, you may not get perfectly. It's a great base to start from. I love, you know, starting from something. Oh, sorry. My screen just went black. Oh, there we go. All right. So if you have any questions, let Delana know. She's helping me today. And there you have it. So I've really saturated this paper. Now a little bit has gone on the back because I'm being really sloppy on my work surface here. And that's not a problem. It really isn't. Because we're working off a little panel rather than, you know, an entire card. So I'm just going to dry it real quick. So like I said, all of the watercolor pencils are back in stock. So make sure you let your favorite Prima stores know that we have them again and that they're ready to go. And you'll notice when you dry it that the color is going to lighten quite a bit. So don't be afraid to add color. Because it's really going to soften quite a bit. And let's say we dry it, right? And we're like, oh, I wish I had a little bit more color. No problem. Just go right back in and grab a hold of some of that color and just start blending again. Like there's no right or wrong way to do this. You know, and I'm kind of got the greeny teal going here, which I'm going to just kind of really blend. So I don't know, I just think you could do this in front of the TV. You could do this with the kids. They could make their own backgrounds. That would be really fun. Sorry about the heat gun. But unfortunately, it is a necessary step to move on. Okay, we're almost done here. Sorry about that, you guys. All right. Okay. So now what I've done is now you can use for your card base like a piece of pattern paper or cardstock, but I really love the texture and the high quality of the high quality look of the watercolor paper. So I really want these cards to be nice, even though they're simple. Like to me, I just think, oh, why not? Oh, I got yucky stuff on my distress tool. Big surprise there. All right, so now it's pretty much dry. And I encourage you guys to use any stencils that you have in your stash and to play around with these, because the different stencils are going to really kind of give you that customized style that you're looking for. It could be a harlequin, or could be Christmas ornaments. Like these would be great Christmas cards, right? And if you're making a handful of them for special people for the holidays, you really want to have something very simple and unique to put together and send them out to your friends. And you didn't spend like a ton of time on them. Do you see that? Okay, so there we have that. Now what I've done is added just a little bit of jute. So Prima has some jute trim. You get 200 yards on one spool. This number is 576875. So I'm going to take a really nice big piece off of here. All right. And what I've decided to do is just kind of wrap it. I should have done this before I glued it down, but it doesn't matter. Right, guys? It doesn't matter. Oops. Yeah, I always have issues with string and stuff. And you can wrap it around as many times as you want. Sometimes I do it 3 times, 2 times. And I'm just going to tie a sweet little bow. So you can use like, you know, hemp twine, or like something you would use for jewelry, or cord, or ribbon. But I like the delicate look that the jute string adds. Oh, I can't even do this right now. Hold on. I've got to concentrate when I tie a bow. I can't talk and tie a bow at the same time. Isn't that sad? Just kidding, I can. Okay. So there we have like the fun little jute. And I know Delana uses jute in her projects all the time, and she has like really cool ideas on how to use it to make to actually make an added element to her projects. It's really, really cool. So if you haven't seen what she's done with it, then you need to definitely go take a look at the recordings, because it's pretty cool. Okay, next I'm going to use some just white flower petals. Now this is the Rodante set 577759. I think these are a little bit harder to find. They were extremely popular. However, if you can't find those, we have the Prima Pillar Pack flowers. So you can buy them in white, or you can buy them in an assortment of colors. And they have these all over. Most stores have them, and Hobby Lobby carries these as well. It's 529567, and it's the white Prima Pack. And you get 72 flowers in here. So, and they come in all sizes, as you can see. You can see little ones in there and some bigger ones. So, you know, it's not a problem to find white Prima flowers. If it is, let me know. I'll get on that. Okay, so I'm just going to very easily, simply start layering some flowers here next to my jute. Next to my jute. I like to tuck my flowers in around, right? Let's see, in this box I have all kinds. Do you guys ever just dump all of your flowers out in front of you? Like, I love doing that, because then I can really get a look at what I have to work with. And it's just easier to pick what you need than trying to go through a box. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that under there and hopefully not glue down my jute at the same time. So just an easy little, simple little flower cluster around my jute. Now, In the Rodante box, you get like actually little vines. So that's kind of cool. That is a bonus. You don't get these in the pillar, but you can find other centers very easily. So I'm just going to snip off a couple of the little baby ones and add those to these flowers here. All right, I'll take this one up here. There you go. Okay, now, one of the things I did is I colored the same watercolor paper with Empress Gold Color Bloom Spray. You can see it's like spotted and textured, and it almost looks like metal, you know. The Empress Gold is probably to date my favorite, as well as the Lime Wedge. Let's see, the number on this is 580315. If you are looking to get started with the Color Bloom sprays and not sure what colors to start with, this is one I would definitely get if I were you, the Empress Gold. It's really, really beautiful. So you can see I just kind of added it to the watercolor paper, and then the punch I used, I was shopping around the other day and I found this Fisker's punch. It's part of the Teresa Collins edition collection, and it's just Love. So it's pretty heavy duty. So this, I'm usually kind of leery of punches working with watercolor paper because it's so much heavier, but this punch works beautifully through the watercolor paper. So I punched out some words. I punched out Love. Now you can use your Cricut machine, you can use, you know, your die cuts, whatever you want for your own special words. Maybe some people, you know, would use their silhouette. That's perfect too. I don't own one of those, but it's on my Christmas list. It's actually on my Christmas list every year, and I haven't gotten it yet. So that and diamond earrings. Yeah. So we'll see. There's always hope. There's a little dingleberry. So I just kind of nestled that right into the flowers. I think it looks just so cute, kind of floating over the flowers. And next I'm going to add a couple leaves. Now, I know that in our collections we usually sell, you know, leaves that match the collection. And these are my leftover leaves from the butterfly collection. And you can see what they look like at one time, patterned, but I sprayed them with Lime Wedge Color Bloom Spray. So you get a little bit of texture in there, but they're still green. And the Lime Wedge Color Bloom Spray is my second go-to color. It's 573850. Okay, so you can use some leftover, you know, if you get those patterned leaves, you know, most likely you can spray them green if you want green leaves. I've got a whole bunch here that I've sprayed, and they came out perfectly fine. They look good. So just another tip, you know, if you have these leaves that really don't match anything you have anymore in your stash, you know, spray them up. Spray them up. You probably already do that. You guys are so smart. You guys already do stuff that I tell you to do. Okay, so I'm just looking for a couple smaller ones, which I think I found. So I'm actually going to kind of give them a little haircut here and put a little blob of glue on, or maybe a big blob of glue. I can't talk today. I need coffee. I need some coffee. It's about that time. It's witching hour. I always call this time of day witching hour. It's about 2 o'clock, almost 3 o'clock. It's time for your second dose of caffeine, right? Okay, so I just tucked a couple of those little leaves in there. You can see it's coming together beautifully. And next but not least, I'm going to go back to the 3D gloss gel. And, oh, hold on, I'm just going to clean this up a little bit because it's just getting a little carried away already. I've given myself 6 inches of space to craft in, and it happens in like no time flat. Like every single thing I pull out, right? Okay, so I also have Finnabare's micro beads. Can you see those? They're like little balls in copper. Let's see, will my camera focus today? Ah, look at that. Woohoo! 962579. And she came out with all different colors. The copper happens to be one of my favorites, and it's actually, they're very gold in color. So they match the Empress Gold Color Bloom Spray. So like I said before, the 3D gloss gel. Oh, I don't want to open up my email. Hold on. Oh, that's naughty. No, exit. Okay, sorry. My screen just turns off, and then it depends on where my mouse is sitting. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so the 3D gloss gel is nice because it's thicker, so it can really grab hold. Oh, it'd be good if I used a brush that worked. So it can really grab hold of all those little ingredients. You only need a little dab. Let it dry with the art ingredients on top, and then you can always go back later and add a little more gel to make sure that they stay put, right? So I'm dabbing it in a few different areas around my flowers, and I'm not being careful. I just kind of want to get some glue on there. Now, if I pour these suckers, they're going to go everywhere because they are little balls. So these will roll for miles in your house. Okay, they'll just keep rolling away, and you'll keep stepping on them and finding them for weeks. It's a true story that's happened to me. Okay, so I just sprinkle them on, let whatever glue is on there kind of grab hold of them, and then I'll lightly, very lightly tap it off. And so then you can take your fingers and kind of move it around and get it the way that you want it to look. You know, kind of random and pretty. Let's see if that'll focus. See? So those little coppery micro beads just add just a little something extra. It looks like little flower pollen or whatever. And you don't need a lot. Like a little tiny bit goes a long way. So that's that card. Pretty simple, easy to put together. See, here's my original. Here's the one I just made. So very much the same. Very pretty. Oh, maybe my love isn't so. My love is crooked. There we go. Okay, so there's that one. And remember, I kind of went with some of the pinks and the greens too for this one. And I didn't add the trim, the jute trim, but I just added a little bit of that other stuff, the art ingredients and the flowers and all that jazz. So you have now like a really cute set of cards. These are great for birthday, for wedding, whatever. You want to just send a little bit of love to someone. You know, you've got your cards ready. Okay. So moving on, let's go to the next set of cards. So like I said, this one was a really, really simple one. This I could see making a ton of, and even stamping. Like you could stamp and use gold embossing powder, and just it could say thank you, it could say missing you, whatever you want. But I just stuck with the whole love theme. Okay, so here's what I did. I get my little handy dandy embossing tray ready. And again, I'm working off that little panel, and I used this old stamp from Prima. So I say old because it is really old. But it's still one of my absolute favorites. And I know I have the packaging around here somewhere. So it looks like this. Okay. And the number is 541835. Now, this is just one I have in my stash, but really there's, you know, you've probably got a lot of stamps in your stash that would work really well with this. You've seen me use this in the past. And because I've used it on a Christmas album. Oh gosh, micro beads everywhere. So what I'm going to do is take my Distress Embossing ink pad. I love this ink pad because it is an ink pad that will work with any embossing powder that you have in your stash. Not all embossing ink pads are created equal. I'll just tell you that. This one is made to go with any brand of embossing powder that you get your hands on. I bet you didn't realize that, huh? So I'm going to really ink it up really, really well. And I've re-inked this pad a couple times, so it definitely gets a lot of love. Now, this part you're not going to really see too well, I will admit. I'm just going to scoop all this. My gosh, micro beads, I'm telling you. This part you are not going to see. But basically what I want to do is I want to stamp this stamp 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. And not once are you going to stamp the whole entire image on the card front. You are going to just stamp it off the card each time. And I try to get 2 corners and a side. Okay? 2 corners and a side. So like I said, this is not, you're really not going to see this. Like I can barely see it, but you're just going to have to trust me that it's there. And I know it is. Okay. And that, it just makes it a little difficult to see, but not horrible. Okay, and you'll see it in just a second. Okay, so I've stamped off boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now, I'm going to go in. Oh, that was my dog. She's snoring. Sorry. I'm going to go in with my embossing powder. So I like to use just a clear powder and super fine. So this one is made by Ranger. I like super fine because when I have a highly detailed stamp that has a lot of little lines on it and a lot of little images, the super fine will get in there and it won't look clumpy. So just so you know. And I'm pretty generous with the powder. I just kind of sprinkle it on because I have it in my tray. And I'm just going to swish it around. And it's going to look like snow, sort of. Can you guys catch that at all? Ah, there's a really good angle. I think you guys can see it. Okay. So now I'm going to just heat that with my gun real quick. See if I can hold it up so that you can see the transform. Don't burn your fingers. And take your time with it. Do you see it start to get shiny? Color. All right, I think I got it. I think I've killed it. Okay, so can you see it now? It's just it's shiny. So that's what I want. I want it to be shiny because I want it to resist the watercolor pencils again. Okay? Hold on a second. I just want to make sure that I'm keeping up with the chat here. Actually, I have no idea what you guys are saying. I stuck a Band-Aid over the camera. Oh, I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know. Who knows what you're talking about? Anything could, you know, you pop into the chat and you never know what you're going to get. Okay, so this time I think I'm going to go with, maybe I'll go with the softer colors from the Hair and Skin Tone set. And I really, really love this pink. And it's number 9 in that set. And it looks almost orangey on camera, but it's really not. Oh, I don't want that. Oh, I gotta make sure this is clean because I went from teal to pink. I'm gonna just slide my light over a little bit more. Okay, so again, this is a real light color. I'm not even sure why I'm starting with this color because it's hard to see on camera. Okay, so you know, you're just pulling the color right off again, just like before. And now what we're going to see is that subtle pattern kind of come to life. And again, you guys, I'm starting with my lightest color, and I'm going to work my way up to the darkest color. All right, and let's see if I can you see that? It's starting to show more of the pattern. Okay, so wouldn't this be a beautiful, wouldn't this be just an absolutely beautiful Christmas card? Like if you had just a very simple ornament stamp or a tree or snowflakes. Like, how beautiful would this look for holiday cards? Well, right now it's not looking that beautiful, but it will. Okay, the next color I'm going to go to, let me see, is, I believe I'm going to use 89. No, I lied. I'm going to use 8, number 8. So it's kind of like, it looks brown on the tip of the pencil, but it's not. It's more pink. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to pull that off, and I'm going to start going around that pattern that I started with here. Just go a little bit of circle, and I'm just not being careful at all. Now, if you feel like you've got too much going on your card, don't hesitate to just kind of dab a little bit. You can do that, and it will pull some of that color off for you so you don't feel like you're getting too much. Okay. And you can start to see the contrast of the two pinks, and you can also see that I am not being careful at all. Okay. Take a little bit of color out of the center of the circle. Okay. All right. Next I'm going to go to that really pretty buttery yellow. Actually, yeah. Let's see how this looks. I don't think it's going to be light. I think it's not. I don't think it's going to be dark enough. I think I'm going to go with this yellow instead. It's number 86. So number 86 is a really, really pretty fall type of yellow. Can you guys see this okay? I'll hold it up in just a sec. And see how I keep going back with more color, and I'm not, again, not being careful at all. And remember what I said before, it's going to dry just a little bit lighter than it looks. Okay, so let's see. See that? And see how it's kind of messy? Like, I think I need a little bit more color up here in the corner for sure. So I'm going to pull that out some of that lighter pink again. Ooh, I still had some yellow on my ooh. See, and I don't want any defined lines when I do this. Like, I don't want to see a circle around this, and I don't want to see a circle around this. So that's why I'm not being careful, because, all right, now I might go in with that darker color I was mentioning before, number 89, and it's kind of a tannish brown. And I'm going to pull just a little bit of that and just go around the yellow. Okay. Ooh. Oof. I can start to see it. Okay. Oh. There's a microbead on my card. See, I told you those things get everywhere. But they're totally cute, so they're worth it. And now I feel like there's just a little too much water over here. So I'm just going to add more water. That was funny. And see, every time you go back, you can just add another layer. And now I am really manipulating this watercolor paper like crazy, and it is not pilling up at all. Okay. So can you see that? See how pretty that is, and see how easy that was? Like, I was not careful. You guys saw with your own eyes. Like, it's really wet. So we're going to just heat that up real quick. Oh boy. Sorry, just again messing with my screen. I wish I could paint with you too, Mildred. I wish I could paint with all you guys. It'd be so fun, wouldn't it? Okay, I might go in here. See, and I can kind of drag some of that color right off the side of my craft mat. A craft mat is a really good idea with something like this. Just saying. So, I'm sorry about the heat gun noise. I'm drawing as fast as I can. All right. So I think that's pretty good. So look, even over here, like my stamping was not perfect, but that's okay. Like I'm okay with that, you know. Um, it's just really pretty. Anyway, I don't care. It's not supposed to look perfect and neat. It's supposed to look sloppy and fun. And it's supposed to be fun too. So if it's not fun, then you might be just trying a little bit too hard to get it perfect, and it's really an imperfect card. Okay, so again, this same panel was 5 inches by 3 3/4. And remember, I cut that 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half to give me my cardstock base. It's just an invitation size, A2. All right, remember my gunky, I'm using just my little half moon on the side of my distress tool. That's what that's for. It's a bone folder. So it's supposed to help you, you know, give you really nice creases, and it actually does. Okay. So now I'm just going to glue this down. So are you guys doing okay? I think after this card, we'll do one more with another really fun idea. Again, these are all really simple. Simple, simple, simple. So I'm going to put it right down on my card base. Just glue it right down. Oh my gosh, when did my camera go crooked? You guys didn't tell me. Sorry about that. Okay, so I've got that down. Now, I find when I cut those pieces of the panels, like I'm cutting it at 5 by 3 3/4 from my 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, I always have these little extra strips left over. So it gave me an idea to use them as little flags across the card. Now, a really cool idea I saw this weekend. I cannot take credit for this. I don't even know who I learned it from. I don't know her name. I really didn't know anybody's name. You just cut up the center of the strip, okay, just like that. And then you're going to go from the corner to where you cut it in the middle, and it's going to take one little piece off, and then you go from the other corner to the same area, and, well, that's supposed to come off. There we go. And you have your flag. Pretty neat, huh? So then I'm going to grab a little bit of 3D tape. Found rolls of this. I found these little rolls on clearance at Office Max. I don't know if you have an Office Max near you, for $6. So I was like, yeah, why not? So it's cheap enough for cards. You get quite a bit on there. It's made by Scotch, so Scotch products are pretty awesome. Okay, I'm going to position my little flag right about there. I'm going to flip the card over and use the straight edge of my card to give it a haircut. So there you go. You have like a perfectly straight line there. And I'm going to take that little bit of love once again. Add a little bit of glue. I know the Fabri-Tac isn't great for these little tiny words because, as you know, it's very goopy. But if you can make it work, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. And then the last step is just some sequins. That's it. Oh, it is crooked. Hold on a second. I think it's crooked. There we go. Is just a couple little sequins for decoration. So I have like this little set. Oops, I don't know if I can turn it over. It has spilled a million times. Craft Medley. I saw these online. If you look these up, they have all different kinds of colored sets. And I know I got mine. I found in a scrapbook store in Canada. So I grabbed it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So this and like a blue set. So now I'm just gonna take out some iridescent ones from this set. And I used about 5 or so. And normally, I think I'm going to use my paintbrush and my 3D gel for this, because I really think that the Fabri-Tech's way too, that would just be a disaster. There we go. There you go. And I'm not even being careful about these. I'm just slapping them down, because the more random sometimes the better, right? I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush just to make sure they're in place. I do have a little pickup tool, but I couldn't find it before the show, so that's fine. This works. Okay, that's it. That is it. Isn't that fun? So simple. So if there's any scrapbook stores watching, you know, this really does make a great make and take if people want to try out the pencils and make a simple, quick, easy card, and away you go. All right, like I said, this would be great for Christmas if you want to do ornaments, or you want to do snowflakes or something. That would be such a great holiday card to send, and you don't have to spend hours. Okay, we'll have one more. I have one more quick card to show you. Okay, so this time we are just going to leave it blank, and we are going to straight up start coloring. So I thought this time I'll use the spring and fall set, and I'm going to grab this really bright fuchsia orange. Well, it's like kind of a raspberry color. This reddish pink and the orange. And again, I'm going to use my water brush just to get the paper nice and primed. So I'm just adding water. That's all I'm doing. All right, so I'm going to start with the orange. And that is number, 21 out of the spring and fall set. So again, just being really sloppy, kind of moving that around. I don't have to squeeze a lot of water out of my brush as I do this, right? Because I've already primed the surface. Sorry, my screen once again. All right, so we're going to start with that orange and get that going. Next, we're going to go to this red color. It's number 26. It looks like a reddish brownish burgundy, but if you look at the tip of the pencil, you can see that it's got a little bit of pinky reddishness. Now you can really see. See, I'm just dropping the color. There we go. All right. So again, I started light to dark. The more color you add, look at that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that pretty already? Oh. And then I'm going to go in with my raspberry. I'm just going to pull some color off and touch down with that. Is everybody still with me? Everyone's still with me? Good. For those of you watching the recording, you know, we have a live chat that goes on. I don't know if you know that. I'm not just sitting here talking to people that aren't here. They're here, but they're on the live chat. So they ask questions and we talk with them, and you know, I figured you probably would figure that out by now, but sometimes if someone watches this for the first time, you don't really know, do you? I got a little more red there. All right, so this is looking good. Well, at least I think it does. And it's just random color. I'm just going to wipe that off real quick. See that? I went to town with the water. And like, I still have quite a bit of water. Well, no, I have a little bit of water left in my brush, and I've used it for 3 cards because I went a little water crazy. So you may not use that much, but I just love that I don't have to refill every 5 minutes. Okay, I'm just going to dry this. Remember, it's going to look a little bit lighter. Now you can really see the color kind of pop out. I could really spend a lot of time on this, getting it the way that I want it, but just for the sake of the show, I'm just going to keep moving on here to my next technique, if that's all right. So all of this that you see is actually not a bleed. It's not a bleed to the paper. It's from me being super sloppy with the water, and it's seeped underneath. That doesn't make a bit of difference. I like to dry my paper on the front and the back. I like to do both, and like you can see, there's really not, it's not bad. It's not, there's not a lot of warpage, and you can just literally flatten this right back out, and like it's wonderful. It's very sturdy. So I can't say enough about it. All right, before I spill all my sequins, I'm just going to set these aside. And next, I'm actually going to try to wipe off that stamp I used before. Remember that? Okay, I'm just going to try to get that embossing ink off because now I'm going to switch my inks. Oh gosh, there's a microbead stuck in my stamp. There we go. Okay, so I'm actually going to go to Versamark because what I want to do next is I want to do mica powder technique. So we have mica powder in gold. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. And the number is 962, right? 962524. I love the mica powders. We've come out with so many beautiful colors, and there's so many things you could do with the mica. You can mix it with the matte gel medium or the soft gloss gel and make your own paints, which is really, really fun. So if you want to get painty, you can do that. So we're going to do this. This is kind of an oldie but goodie technique, but it might be new to some of you guys. So, and some of you guys may have done this 12 years ago. I don't know. So I am inking that up really, really good. I'm getting my Versa in there. Getting my Versa on. Okay. Now I'm going to stamp right on the card. And kind of the same pattern that I did before. Okay. And I'm going to ink each time I stamp just because I really want to get a really, really good image. I just press it nice and firmly. Make sure that I get it on there good. And this you can actually see a little bit. I know you can't on camera too much, but I can see. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to stamp once more, about right here. So again, in threes, randomly stamping off the paper. Okay, that's good. Now, I'm going to take my paintbrush, my Finnabair paintbrush. If you guys haven't had gotten your hands on Finn's brush sets, you really need to because they're awesome. I've only ruined one so far. I left it overnight with some gel medium on it by accident. Okay, so I'm just going to tap off some of that gold because I don't want a lot of excess, but look at the image come to life. You see that? So the Versa picks up, that little bit of gold picks up on the stamped image. Isn't that cool? So easy. This is another great idea for a celebration or holiday. A cool way to use your micas. And then you can just brush off the excess because it's just going to stick where the Versamark was. All right. There. And then you just brush off the excess. So you see that? So it's like a watercolor card, but you have that gold. Yes. Like I said, this is not my original idea. I think this is like, this is old school. Oh, gosh, so sorry, guys. This is old school technique, but I remember it from back in the day when I first started, you know, making my own cards and scrapbooking, and this was a really fun go-to technique. So now you have those beautiful gold images, and it looks like kind of bohemian, don't you think? Which is kind of a cool style. It's a new style. It's hip. Okay. All right, so I'm just getting my card base ready. And I can glue that right on there. Oh, I didn't really make a sample of this one beforehand. I thought I would just show the technique and how pretty it looked. But so basically the sky's the limit. You could stamp a sentiment on here with like a brown or black ink or gold. You know, whatever you want. You could put flowers on it. You could put just sequins going up the whole thing or some fun ribbon. Let's see, does that look straight? It does look like, oh, look at that. I got a little, oh, well, I got one there too. This is what happens when I'm cross-contaminating. So I'll see if I can get that up close, all of my mishaps and cool stuff. See? So that was really, really fun and easy. And again, I can take that little word and I could put it right directly on there and keep this like as a really simple card. Or I can add my little flag to it if I want to. It doesn't matter. See? It looks cute either way, right? Okay. Versa needs to still be wet for the mica to stick. That's correct. You need to make sure that you stamp the Versa, then put the mica right on it, and then you're good to go. Don't wait and don't let the Versa dry. That's correct. So, see, Barbara knows what I'm talking about. She knows. No, you don't dry the Versa. You leave it wet. You leave the ink wet, just like you would be if you were going to emboss it with embossing powder. And just put the mica right on and then take it off, and then you're good to go. There's no drying. Awesome. So I hope you guys really like these fun ideas. They're, you know, so sometimes, you know, I mean, with Prima, like, you know, we always try to go over the top because that's just how we roll. But sometimes it's just really nice and refreshing to have really simple idea and use up some of the stuff that you already have in your stash that you had to have, like when you saw it used for something, and get it out. Get out your favorite stamps. Look through your stamp stash. Get out your favorite stencils and just have fun. You know, these would be great cards to do with your girlfriends. You know, even if you have friends you want to have over for, you know, for like some hors d'oeuvres and wine one night, and you want to just show them how to make some quick, easy cards, you know, that'd be kind of a fun girlfriend's night thing to do. And like I said, you could do this with the kiddos. They would probably have a blast, and the kids usually make things look much nicer than you do. Well, me, I should say. Sometimes my son is just like, he never hardly ever crafts, but when he does, he always makes it look awesome, and I'm like, that's totally not fair. Right? Kids just do it, and they don't even think about it, and they just go for it, and I think that's half of our problem right there. We get in our own way and thinking it has to look perfect, or we're not sure, and they don't care. They just go for it. I love crafting with kids. That's why I always mention them when I'm doing my shows, because I try to think of things, too, that they would have fun doing. And you can make, like, I know you guys all have grandkids or friends, or, you know, you're involved somehow, you know, with people that would appreciate this, I think. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do with that card. So we got a lot of love. We got a lot of love going on in today's show with my words. Oh, I also wanted to show you some other color ideas. Like, I went super bright with this one, so look and see how, you know, how you can really go crazy with color. So they don't all have to be muted and soft. They can be whatever colors you need, you know, whatever you like. And another thing I did try it with modeling paste, so you can see there's some dimension there. The modeling paste was fun. This is just my play. This isn't anything I was just playing around on this. The modeling pastes were good, except that it's opaque when it dries. So it's not as nice and bright and white as I wanted my finished cards to be. So that's why I switched from the modeling paste to the 3D gel, because I thought that the white came through much better. But you can see it's still possible to do with the modeling paste too, and you can just play around with that as well. And when the modeling paste is still wet, or when your 3D gloss gel is still wet, you can add glitter. You know, just the, you know, the Prima sugar glitter. You can add that over it and add a little bit of shimmer and shine. So that's kind of fun too. So I'm just giving you all kinds of techniques. So that's my show for today. And I hope you guys had a good time. Hope you liked hanging out with me today, and you learned some fun ideas and techniques and things that you can use this for later. And I do have a nice set of cards now that I can, you know, put aside for, yeah, I'll send some to Jack or something at college, you know, something kind of cute. So on Thursday this week, on October 1st, you will see and hear me again. My apologies. Because that's just how it worked out. But I will be definitely showcasing this special delivery kit this month. It's called Smarty Pants, and it's got a lot of kind of school themed papers in it. But what I will tell you is that it's old school too. So if you have heritage photos of someone like your dad or your mom or yourself that went to school a long time ago, those papers work really, really well. And it works really well for kids that are younger. You know, going to school now. So that's what I really love about the paper line we're using for that. And there's a lot of goodies in there. So I am going to make something, I'm going to try to make something totally fabulous for you guys. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's my goal. So I will see you on Thursday. Also, make sure you go to livewithprima.net to get your special delivery kit in. And Art Venture coming up in Anaheim in January 6th and 7th. If you guys want to have a lot of fun and treat yourself to an amazing weekend with a lot of awesome ladies that go, amazing goodie bags, awesome kits, great teachers, I mean, you know, it's the place to be. So go to primamarketinginc.com and click on the Art Venture link, and it'll take you to the information page and registration page so you can see what it's all about. Yes, I'm on Thursday night as well. So thank you so much for coming and for spending an afternoon with me, and I will touch base with you guys soon. All right? Have a great day.